Hi, Chef David Payne here with Char-Broil to introduce the new Char-Broil Pinch of Sizzle line of brines, marinades, rubs, and sauces. Today we're here to prepare a Kansas City style baby back rib. So let's head to the kitchen and get started. The next step in our process is going to be to spray them down with a little bit of lemon juice. The lemon juice is going to add acidity into the ribs, which is going to help break down the muscle tissue in the ribs for the cooking process. The actual lemon flavor of the juice will pretty much dissipate in the cooking process. It's more about the acidity getting into the meat and into the ribs and helping break down your connective tissues, etc., to help tenderize the meat in the process. It also helps for adhering the rub to the actual meat, which is very nice as well. So what we did was we took a little bit of lemon juice, we put it in our little spray bottle here. We're just going to spray it on the ribs. Like so. Okay. Get both slabs done here. And then we're going to go ahead and hit them with our rub. All right, we got our ribs prepped. We got them trimmed out. We got a little bit of lemon juice on them. Now we're going to go ahead and put our Charbroil Kansas City seasoning rub on it. And what I need you guys to understand is what a rub is all about. In the world of barbecue, a rub is more or less a method of seasoning your ribs and physically rubbing it with your hands into the meat, because you're really trying to marinate the meat with the seasoning profile. Now we're doing this a day ahead of time, so we're actually seasoning up these ribs with the understanding that we're going to let them sit in the refrigerator overnight and then put them on the smoker in the morning and let them smoke for 4 or 5 hours. So that's really what our intent is. So what we really want to do is get a nice heavy coating of our Charbroil Kansas City seasoning blend on the product, being the back ribs. Okay, so we'll start out by doing the back side first. Again, the theory behind doing the back over the front side first is I'm less concerned about how the back's going to look. And so when I turn it over, I can get a thicker, heavier coat on the front side, which is what I want because that's where most of my meat is. But you see how I'm putting that on very liberally, and making sure we rub that in there real good, because you really want those flavors to get in there. With this Kansas City rub, what we're going to be doing is, it's a sweeter profile. It's going to be a sweet/spicy, which is more in the traditional classic Kansas City style. It's going to have black peppers, onion, garlic, chili peppers, a little bit of cayenne pepper. It's got some thyme in there. You want to get a good heavy coat. Don't be shy with the seasoning. Again, this is almost like a dry marinade. So when we say rubbing, we're really kind of marinating the meat. And then we're going to let this sit in the fridge overnight, covered in plastic wrap, so it's ready to go first thing in the morning. All right, we'll take a couple sheets of plastic wrap then, and we'll go ahead and cover these up. And then, like I said, we'll try to refrigerate these overnight, at least for a minimum of about 4 hours. You really want the seasoning to get into the meat before you go to the smoker with it. You really want those seasonings to penetrate into the meat. All right, here we are out in the backyard with our offset smoker. This is our Oklahoma Joe Series smoker. We're going to go ahead and add our Kansas City style baby back ribs. These are the ones that we prepped yesterday. We went ahead and we trimmed them. We peeled the membrane off the back. We sprayed them with lemon juice, and then we seasoned them with our Charbroil Kansas City style rub. Now what we're going to do is go ahead and go to the smoker with them. We're going to start out with the bone side down. Place them on the smoker, more towards the chimney, as it's a little bit cooler here, and then we can take them to the heat closer towards the firebox if we prefer, if we want to adjust our heat a little bit on our smoker. Again, if you don't have an offset smoker, you can even grill on a grill, which we'll talk about here a little bit later this afternoon. But at this point, the key to the smoker is making sure that you have a nice even temperature. You want to be cooking these at about 225 degrees, roughly for about 30 minutes per pound on your ribs. But again, that's a general rule of thumb. Usually on a smoker of this type, being an offset smoker, you're probably going to cook these for about 3.5 to 4 hours roughly for your ribs. And you can put probably up to about 8 slabs, 10 slabs of ribs on a smoker of this size. But you want to make sure you have enough room between your ribs that the smoke truly is getting around all sides of the ribs. You don't want your ribs stacked on top of each other, etc. But pretty much that's all we're trying to accomplish here today, is to get these on the smoker and let them start slow smoking so we can move forward with the cooking process of the ribs. All right, let's check on our baby back ribs here. These are the Kansas City style ones that we started smoking about a half hour or so ago. We want to come out here and we want to mop these. As you can see, they got a nice crust on them at this point, which is exactly what we want. So we want to take our Char-Broil red mop sauce, which again is a spicy vinegar type of sauce, which is going to add additional flavor to the ribs. And then in addition to the flavor, it's also going to give you some tenderizing traits to the meat as well. Because of that vinegar, again, it's going to penetrate into the meat and it's going to also help to additionally tenderize your ribs in the cooking process. So we want to make sure you get them good and mopped. Then when we do that, we're going to let that go for about 20 minutes to a half hour, and then we'll come back and flip them and mop the other side. All right, now that we got the lid closed back up on the smoker, we got our ribs basted with our red mop sauce. Let's go ahead and take a look at our fire. We still got some great charcoal going there, nice and gray. I do want to add more smoke to it, though. I want to get that smoke flavor penetrated deep into the ribs. So let's go ahead and add a few more smoke chips. Give that a few minutes to start smoking. We should be in good shape. We probably want to come back and take a look at this in about a half hour or so. All right, it's been about 30 minutes or so. We're going to go ahead and check on our ribs here, the Kansas City style baby back ribs. We are running about a 225 temperature still on the smoker, which is perfect. You can see we got some beautiful color working on the ribs. At this point, we want to make sure we're basting both sides of the ribs. So it's time for us to really kind of turn the ribs over and get the other side a little bit. Let's see what the back side of these ribs look like. Beautiful. I'm going to put these a little closer to the heat. So I'm going to put them a little further down towards the firebox here. And remember, keeping in mind on an offset smoker like this, it's always going to be hotter towards your firebox versus towards your chimney on the other end. Now that we got those turned over, let's go ahead and baste them with a little bit more of our red Charbroil mop sauce. Okay. Again, don't be shy. Get it on there. Put a nice liberal coat on it. Again, the reason for this, it's going to add additional flavor as we had discussed. It's also going to help tenderize your ribs because of the vinegar content. And you just got some wonderful seasonings and spices going on here that are just going to add more layers of flavor to your barbecue, which is exactly what you want. Here we are back in the backyard. We're taking a look at our smoker, the ribs that we've been basting throughout the period of the day. These have been going now for about 3.5 hours. And what we're ready to do now is add our finishing sauce. We've mopped these on both sides, probably about 3 times on each side. So we got about 6 mops that we've done to this. Let's take a look at how our ribs are coming along. Look beautiful. We're going to go ahead and flip those back over. You can see that nice bark on your ribs. You got beautiful coloring. Now we're going to go ahead and hit it with our finishing sauce. This we're only going to let bake on there because we're doing this in a smoker and not on a grill, and the temperature's nice and low. You can probably do these for about a half hour, basting them with your finishing sauce. All right, here we are back in the backyard. We're at our offset smoker. Again, this is the Oklahoma Joe offset smoker. These ribs have been going now for close to 4 hours. And what we've done, as you remember, is we went ahead and trimmed these ribs out. We sprayed them with a little bit of lemon juice. We then put our Char-Broil Kansas City style rub on it. Then we went ahead and went to the smoker. We mopped them about every half hour or so with our Char-Broil red mop sauce, and then we finished them here for about the last 15-20 minutes with putting on some of our Char-Broil sweet and sassy sauce. This is your finished product. It's basically ready to serve. At this point, what we want to do is go ahead and plate these up on a platter. We'll bring them in the house, and then we'll plate them for our guests. This is our Kansas City style baby back ribs. We're going to plate these up with a double baked potato and a nice cucumber and tomato salad with some black olives. But again, you can use whatever side you prefer. Let's cut them between the bone. You can see you got a nice juicy finished product here. I usually serve my guests about a half slab each. That's usually enough, but I always make sure I have a few extra around for those big rib eaters. Half slab's usually going to be about 5 or 6 bones. And there you have it, Kansas City style baby back ribs.